We were discussing about Harrod Domar model. Now let's look at few finer points of this model. So as per the model, how can growth increase? So we have derived the formula for the growth rate, which is the savings rate upon the incremental capital output ratio. So delta Y by Y is S upon C, where C is ICOR. Let's say if the capital output ratio is 3 and the savings rate is 6%, what is the growth rate? Growth rate is S upon C, which is 6 upon 3, which is 2. So economy is going to grow at 2%. Suppose savings rate increased to 15%, right? So your growth rate is going to increase to 5%. So just by increasing savings rate, model predicts that you can increase the growth rate. That is the point. Second thing, if you look at Rostow's stages of growth, so what Rostow was telling that economy is really going to take off at a certain stage. What Harrod and Domar model also tells you that in case of economy is saving around 15 to 20% of GDP, actually economy will move into the takeoff stage. And the moment economy moves into the takeoff stage, there will be self-sustaining growth. It is going to sustain its own growth for a long period of time. Supposedly, economy is experiencing or economy wants the growth rate of 7%, let's say. And the capital output ratio is 3. So according to the Harrod Domar equation, you have this thing. So this is this. So you need the savings rate of around 21%. But right now your savings rate is only 15%. So there is a savings gap of 6%. You wanted 21% of the savings rate at this capital output ratio so that you can have the 7% growth rate, but your current savings rate is only 15%. So there is a 6% savings gap. You need to fill this up. How will you fill this up? Model says, why don't you have the help from the other countries? You can rely on foreign aid, or you can encourage foreign investment in your own economy. This is going to fill this savings gap. So the moment savings are going to increase, growth is automatically going to increase. This is what the model is telling. You can also increase the growth rate using efficiency. So if you improve efficiency, then also you can increase the growth rate. So by improving efficiency, you mean what? You mean that you are going to reduce the capital output ratio. That is, you are reducing the amount of capital which is required to produce the same level of output, right? So for example, savings rate is 6%. Earlier capital output ratio was 3. So it is, you were having the growth of 2%, right? But now there is an efficiency in capital. There is an improvement in efficiency in capital. So it means what? It means that you need now lesser capital to produce the same level of output. So this thing is 6 upon 2.5, and this thing gives you around 2.4%. So you have been able to increase the growth rate by, even with the same savings rate, by improving the efficiency of capital. But that is not something which is very clearly emphasized in the model. What is emphasized in the model is your improvement in the savings rate, right? The other thing is that if you look at the way the model is telling, model is saying you have savings, you have investment, so that savings and investment are going to be translated into growth automatically. So wherever you're going to invest, automatically growth is going to be there. And how is investment going to come? Through savings. But you know what? Just having more investment is not entirely a sufficient condition for growth to happen. So what happened after World War II, that most of the European economies were in turmoil. So there was a Marshall Plan which was created. And in that Marshall Plan, we said that the basic idea is that some kind of economic help was given to Europe so that Europe can build up fast. Europe can grow fast. After one has torn down the entire Europe, US started giving financial assistance to Europe. Achha, what was US's motive in giving assistance to Europe? Because US didn't want communism to grow in Europe, right? So it wanted free market economy to flourish. For that, Europe was given money. But you know what? Europe had right institutions, even at that time. Europe had good markets. Europe had skilled labor. Europe had infrastructure. Europe had efficient bureaucracy. Europe had development mindset. So then at that time, when investment came with all of these factors, they were working in the favor of the growth of Europe. But then you just say that just because you're going to invest, everywhere growth is going to be there. No, because the reality in developing countries are very different. Developing countries are lacking administrative efficiency. They are lacking planning capacity. Developing countries were lacking efficient financial systems. Without all of them, how can you have growth? Even if you have investment, how can you have growth? They have corruption. Whatever money you are going to invest, I mean, because of corruption, it is going to be withered away. So what is the point? There are not skilled managers, they're not skilled workforce. Without that skilled workforce, how can you use this investment? So just because investment is there, you can't say that growth is going to be there. So this is an example which you can give. What worked in Europe, that financial assistance in Europe had worked, investment had turned into growth because it had all the parameters which were required for growth. But that may not be necessarily true for every country, right? The other criticism of the model is that in the model, mainly what is emphasized is that you increase savings. But you can have growth by improving efficiency of capital also. That is not much emphasized. So you can reduce the amount of C. That is not much emphasized. What is emphasized is that you increase this, right? So fair enough. This is what I wanted to do in this recording. We'll meet in the next class. Thank you, Beta.